Hi there, in this video we're going to make this simple postcard. We're going to look at fonts that are installed on your machine, okay, and we're going to look at something called Typekit, which is fonts that Adobe give you and we can download them for free and use them as part of our designs. All right, let's go and learn how to do that now in Illustrator. Okay, so let's make our postcard for our text to go on. I'm going to File, New, and we want a postcard size. Now there is under Print, you can see View All Presets, and there's no postcard size in here. Under Art and Illustration, there is a preset for postcard, okay, but if I click on it and switch it over here to say inches or millimeters, it's got a really weird ratio, okay, not what I consider a traditional postcard. Maybe that's where in the world, depends on what's traditional. I'm gonna just put in 5.8 and 4.1. That's a kind of a really kind of standardized postcard size. If it's in millimeters, very similar. It's 148 by 105. Okay, I'm going to go back to inches. Awesome. Everything, I'm going to make sure it is landscape, and let's click create. All right, let's put in our background color. So just grab the rectangle tool, pick a fill color. I'm going to go to my color mixer, and up the top here, I'm just going to make sure I'm on RGB. Okay, you might be on CMYK, RGB. Let's go on RGB for the moment. We're going to look at color a little bit later on. Just kind of click through here and decide on a color. I'm going to pick a bluish greeny color. Okay, I'm going to drag it across the whole thing. There you go. Awesome. I want no stroke. Okay, so I'm going to go in here and go no stroke, please. Don't worry too much about the color because we are going to go and change it in a future tutorial. I say that and I'm like, it's too blue. Okay, a little bit more green. All right, I also want a rectangle on this side. I want to break it into three groups, two columns for the text and one on the left here for just, I'm going to put an image in later on. Okay, you would have seen that at the beginning there. So what I want to do is break it into three. The easiest way is to copy and paste this. So I've got two of them. Okay, I'm going to change this to a dark gray. I'm going to go back to my swatches and pick just a dark gray for the moment. This is going to get switched out again. So divided by 3, maybe we can do the math in these. So the width, I'm going to break the link so that the height and width aren't joined. And I'm going to say I'd like the width just in here and put a divide by, which is a /, and I want to divide it by 3 there. Hit return, okay, and it's just divided it to 3. Cool. So I'm going to use 2 of these for my text, and this is going to be my image. What I'd like to do for the moment though is to lock the background. Okay, so layers, I'm going to call this layer background. All caps for no good reason. I'm going to hit the little locking icon, new layer, and this is going to be my type. All caps for no reason. Okay, so when you're adding type, there's two kind of types of type boxes. Grab the type tool, which is this capital T. If you click once, you've created what's called a point type box. Don't worry about the names. Basically, the point type box is a box that just keeps on going forever and goes off the screen. Good for titles and logos and stuff, but when we want body copy, we need a different kind of type box. So grab the type tool again, and down here, kind of this lower part, we're going to add some body copy. If I click, hold, and drag, okay, so up here, I just clicked once, and I got a point type box. Okay, whereas I click, hold, and drag down here, you can see you get a box that has, it's called an area type box. Kind of basically all it does, it has a kind of an end to it and it snaps back around. Okay, and watch this, if I resize it now, it kind of, you know, expands and contracts. Whereas this one here, if I try and expand and contract it, it's kind of a weird sort of function using a point type box. There's going to be times where you need to convert the two. So I'm going to delete that one. Is that, say I draw up, I click once for a title in here, and I add some stuff, and what happens, let's say later on I want to make this a lot bigger, so I'm going to go to my properties and I'm going to make the font size a lot bigger. I want to break onto 2 lines, right? So what you can do is you can change this by, with my black arrow, see this little kind of circle on the side here? That's the kind of conversion tool. If you double click it, it changes it into a area type box like the bottom one here. Nothing really looks like it changes, except now when I drag the edge, can you see it snaps down into 2 lines? Or I could snap it down to 3 lines if there's enough room. Okay, so that's what I want this box to be. I want it to be nice and biggish. And we're going to add some actual type and look at fonts next. So up the top here, there's a bit of text we're going to put in. We're going to say how to murder a designer. And we'll go, that's going to be our tip number 1. Okay, and how to murder a designer is asking them to send, can you send it over as a Word doc? Hate when that happens. So there's that. This is just going to leave us body copy as lorem ipsum at the moment. Let's say we don't have that yet. Lorem ipsum is just placeholder text. It's Latin. They're actual words that are just mixed up, so they make no sense. But yeah, good as a placeholder until you get your text. So let's move him down. What we will do is we'll start on this one at the top here and look at fonts. First of all, I'm going to change my fill to white. Okay, next thing I want to do is pick a font. So I'm going to drop this down, and you know how to pick fonts. It's no big deal. So I'll add a little bit of extraness to it. And what I really like is these filters. So these are all the fonts that are on my computer. Okay, so they've been installed in some previous life. Okay, so up here it says filter. This can be really handy because I'm looking for a serif font, which has those, basically a serif font has the little feet. They kind of look like Times New Roman. Okay, it has the little serifs on the edges here. Let's zoom in just so I can give you a bit of font nerdery. Go back to our font. Let's pick Times just because if I zoom in. So a serif font has these little feet. Okay, these are called serifs. So this is a serif font. A sans serif font is this one here. Sans is without. So sans serif is without feet. This one has this one has no feet. So serif font. Let's look at a font. I've gone through and had a little look about what I want to use already, and what you can do up at the top here is once you've picked serif, you'll notice that all your fonts are cut down to only serif fonts. Super handy. Okay. Now the only trouble is next time you come back in, it's going to have the same filtering on, so you got to remember to probably turn it off after you've used it to go back to all classes of fonts. Serif font, and you just kind of scroll through and you can see my text updating on the side there. So it's best to have your text already drawn like we have, so you can go through and just check it. I'm going to use, I can't remember, where's my notes here, Gaudi old style. I'm going to use the italic. Okay, that's the one I decided I want to use. In terms of the font size, I'm probably going to use 12 point. Okay, just so you know, in terms of font sizes, say the body copy down here, body copy, a small body copy, or if you open up pretty much any magazine in the shop, it's going to be 10 point. Okay, that's like super common font size. It's legible, it's readable, looks kind of big, but this is a small postcard. Okay, where the smallest you want to go is about 8 point. Okay, that's kind of more business card size where you're just trying to squeeze lots of stuff in. Cool, so we're going to have 10 points so people can read it. So that's that font. I'm going to do the same here. I'm going to use the same font. So Gaudi, you might not have this font. You can go and pick your own. I'm going to make sure it's white. And I'm going to move this down. I'm probably going to play with that a little bit at the end. This font here, we're going to look at something called Typekit. Okay, so Gaudi is just something that happens to be on my machine already, right? But what Adobe do as part of your Creative Cloud license, okay, is you get access to Typekit. And basically what it means is I can, with any sort of font selected, I can drop down my character panel and go to this one that says Add Fonts from Typekit. Click on him. Okay, and it's going to open up a website. I've already opened it up here, and it'll ask you to log in, okay, because you'll need a paid Creative Cloud license. If you don't have one of this, it's not going to work. But basically what we want to do is we want to go to Browse, which is this first option here. And it's just fonts. Okay, now there's lots of places you can go for free fonts, like Duff Font or 1001 free fonts. Those are fine, but what you'll find is that they're, I don't know, if I need a font shaped like a cactus, I'll go to 1001 free fonts, or just kind of like really fun, but I guess free. And they don't have a lot of the stuff I need for maybe more professional work, glyphs and ligatures, and like I live in Ireland, I'm from New Zealand, both the Maori and Irish languages have all the fodders and all the accented letters. Okay, so I need a more mature font. Something like Typekit is perfect for it. They're cool fonts and they're free. So what you can do at the top here is you can type in, let's say, I like doing this because before you download it, you can kind of see what it's going to look like. Okay, sometimes it's pain, you kind of download one and then it doesn't look the same in the fonts you need to use it for. Okay, so in here, you can also kind of wrangle the fonts into some, say you only want to look at kind of script fonts or say hand-drawn fonts. Okay, so you can go through and just kind of work out which ones you want. Also, I like is, say I'm looking for headings, so I want kind of a, more of a bold handwriting font. So I'm going to turn that off. So I want heading fonts. I'm going to turn that off. Another nice thing is, in this case, I want quite a narrow width, okay, because I want to fit a lot of text across the page. yeah, there's a bunch of other options. You can have a little look through here. Now the one I want, I've already had a little look through, so I'm going to kind of cheat and I'm going to go to League. And where are you? LEA. There you are. League Gothic. That's the one I've decided I want to use already. Okay, so this is the font. Okay, now there's a few different weights. Okay, I'm just going to say sync all. And basically what that's going to do is, hopefully you can see it up at the top right here. You'll see in a second that it's downloading onto my computer and magically 4 fonts are added. It's that simple. I also noticed that somehow I'm allowed 100, but I've got 323. I just don't ask questions. Somehow I keep getting more fonts. So let's jump back into Illustrator. Now the cool thing about it is that it should already be installed. So if I go to League, if I can spell League. Now what I might have to do is I'm going to have to turn the filtering of serif on, because this is a sans serif font. There it is there. Installed and ready to go. It's that simple. They're professional fonts. There's some really nice ones in there. And I'm going to use League Gothic, just this one here. Cool. I'm going to switch it to white. Now you can switch over to the next video, because now I'm just going to play around with fonts and font sizes. I'll give you some tricks. Let's do that before we go. I'm going to select all my type, okay, and I'm going to use Command Shift and full stop or period, depending on what you call it. Now, if you're on a PC, it's Control Shift and full stop or period. Okay, so it just kind of increases the font size. I want them up to 3 lines. Okay, so I'm getting it quite big. In terms of the leading, I'm going to select it all. You can use the leading over here. If you hover above it, it should tell you. It's line spacing. It's another word for it. I can decrease it. Okay, but a shortcut is if you hold down the Option key on a Mac or the Alt key on a PC and use up and down arrows. I find that's just a nice quick way of doing it. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So you are 10 point, you are at 10 point. I feel like there needs to be something different about the bottom here. I'm going to go you there, lining them up. Now I'm just messing about. If you find that, say I want an extra line in here, okay, just want to fill with placeholder text, because it did it automatically for me, but say you just need more. With the box selected, go to Type and go to Fill with placeholder text. Just kind of fills it up. It doesn't really matter if you cut it off. Say I just want an extra line. There you go. I'm going to put in a full stop there so it looks like the end of a paragraph. Come on, full stop. Awesome. Actually, I changed my mind. I go back to you, and I'm going to lower it down a little bit. And I'm going to grab the line tool. I'm going to draw a line either side, just to kind of section this off. Actually, I want it to be the same length. Now mine had no stroke, no fill. So if I click off, it looks like it's gone. Basically, it won't print because there's no stroke on it. I'm going to go white, please. 1 point, probably half a point. Just so you know, when you are printing stuff, like if this is going out digitally, it doesn't matter how thin it is, but if it's going out physically, I've printed stuff with lines that are really small. So the lowest you should go is this one here, 0.25. I kind of made one that was like 0.18 or something like that. And literally it rubbed off. Like you put your hand on the page and it was so thin that it couldn't hold on to the paper and it just kind of rubbed off on people's hands. So that was a big printing disaster. All right, so don't go too thin on lines. I'm just kind of using my keyboard now to tab this around. Oh man, how does this look? What do you think, people? Oh, needs a full stop down here. All right, so that is it for type and fonts. There is other things in here that I'm not going to cover, like there's space between letters. Over here, the space between letters. There is left align, right align. I'll assume that you'll be able to work those out yourself. But yeah, let's get in and start doing some type on a path. We'll do that in the next video. So hide it up. See you in the next video.